Sahaloa, Simbalaboa, Halola, Sabo, Shimbalala. Savala, Himbaho Haza, Sabalu, Hachu. I'm not sure what's so. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess you speaking to don't speak commandos, right? Try again. Silly me, it's important when you're speaking to somebody to speak in their language. It helps. We're very lucky as mechanches, as shluchim of the Rebbe, to have the Rebbe as our guide, who really understands children beyond anyone else in the world. And the Rebbe really created a whole new language for children, a language which they respond to. And they not only do they understand, they respond to this language. The only question is, do we know that language? The Rebbe did not just teach us a new language. He took those mishpatim and he placed them on the table for us as a Shulchan Aruch. He could have stopped there by creating this language and have taught it to the mechanchim and the mechanches by Farbrengens, and then left it to them to convey this message to the children. But the Rebbe did not do that. He insisted on simply giving 12 years of model lessons to us, to show us not only what to say, but how to say. In history, there was never a Rebbe that invested so much time with little children. Since Tafshimem Aleph, there was over 80 rallies, more than 256 sichos, in which the Rebbe spoke the children's language directly to them. Again, the only question is, when the Rebbe speaks this language, he knew it. Do we know this language? Ve'ela hamishpatim masher tosim lifneihem. Could you have a better set table than taking all of those sichos and putting them in an organized fashion according to topic, parsha, and yontif? Let's have some real pride in this room. Who over here considers themselves a chassid of the Rebbe? Let's put up our hands. Let's have some more pride. How many of us in this room have mastered all 6 volumes? Let's put up our hands. Oops. Let's go back a step. How many of us have learned through all of the 6 volumes? Let's put up our hand. I see a hand up. There is a hand in this room, and that deserves a round of applause. Not mine. It's over there. You can put your hand up. Don't be shy. It's an accomplishment. There is one person that has done that. Mazel tov. Put up your hand if you would like to master these 6 volumes. I believe it would be fair to say that the children today are really different than the children of Amal, of once upon a time. They throw new challenges at us, and you've spent so much time in the last 2 days discussing those challenges and how to deal with them. Above and beyond all that you've learned, we have a Rabbi who understood the root challenge of today's youth, identified it as the root challenge of today's youth is the lack of Kabbalah's the lack of accepting authority, and not only the authority of Hashem, but also the authority of parents and teachers. Today we all see this. But the Rebbe didn't just address the challenge of today's youth. He also thought long and hard of how to change the nature of a child who's brought up in America with freedom to do literally whatever they want. And the Rebbe came to the conclusion that there is no other way. Not there's a good way, not that this is the best way, but there is no other way to change the nature of a child from having freedom to feel like they can do whatever they want, unless you create a system of discipline. The challenge is, which child who's brought up with freedom is going to accept upon themselves a system of discipline? Because the Rebbe's condition was it has to be done without coercion, without force. And which child is going to want to embrace a system of discipline? And that's where the Rebbe came up with this genius idea of something that has a system of discipline, a rigorous system of discipline, yet people volunteer to accept it upon themselves. And we all know that is the army. Why do people join the army? Because they feel needed. In the army, a person feels powerful. In the army, a person is trusted. In the person is honored. They get recognition. They feel successful. They get rewarded. They feel a part of community. They feel like their country is relying on them. And for all the different reasons, a person will join the army. They will accept upon themselves a system of discipline. And thus, Civis Hashem, the army of Hashem, was taken to a new level. When I say taken to a new level, I want to be really clear. Because people believe and think that the Rebbe started Civis Hashem. That's the biggest myth. People believe that Civis Hashem was made for children, the biggest myth. People believe that Civis Hashem is a program, and that's the bigger myth. If you want your child to feel that they're needed by Hashem, to feel empowered because they're really powerful because they can change the world, and they feel really honored and feel successful and recognized, the only way to do this is if we change our mindset and get in tune with what the Rebbe told us in the first rally. That Hashem's army is recorded back in the Torah when the Yidden went out of Mitzrayim. This is a real army. This is part of the army of Moshe Rabbeinu, Yeshua, and David HaMelech. And that army goes midor, as Targum Onkelos says, ad ikvisa de Mashiach. This is the army that will bring Mashiach. If this is a program, I don't care to join. If this is a program, the base commander can run it in my school. If this is a program, a motivational system for my children, then what does it have to do with me? But if we learn the Rebbe's language, and we get to understand that it's not a program, that it's a real army, and we inculcate our children that Hashem is our commander-in-chief, and the Rebbe is our general, and we are real soldiers, and we want our children to look at our parents, our teachers, our principals as their commanders, the only way that will become a reality is if we accept that responsibility to be their commanders. A base commander running around school giving out missions is beautiful. But we're really missing the point of what the Rebbe really had in mind in the beginning. Our system of discipline has nothing to do with school. The most important parts that need to be incorporated in Tzivos Hashem in their training, which is their subjects they're learning in school, is not incorporated. And the people who are really their commanders are not their commanders in Tzivos Hashem. It's what you call disconnect. But because we walked away with the hachlata that we want to learn the Rebbe's language, I'm sure that when you learn the Rebbe's language, you'll understand what the Rebbe wants. And life will change. And Tzivos Hashem will complete the mission for which it was formed for, to bring Mashiach. Tonight is Chaf Av, and I think it's important as we sit here together to recall the rally in Tafshim Mem Tes when the Rebbe spoke to the children and gave over the message, gave over a Mishnah, how Reb Leivik explained the Mishnah that we say by a yard site of Machat Shehina Sunnah al Mailas HaMa'ara. The Rebbe explains to the children that a machat, a needle, has a purpose to connect two garments together. And that is the purpose of a yid, to connect Gashmias and Hashem. The Rebbe went further to say that in order for a machat, a needle, to connect two garments, you need the needle to be sharp. And that is the strength that a Yiddish child has, that a Yid has, not to be nispal, not to be influenced by the things that are going around in the world and what the world says. You've got to be strong, have a strong conviction to what you believe in as a Yid. That's the needle. That's the pin, the point of the needle. What is the thread that connects the two garments? That is the tzitzis, which represent all the mitzvahs. That is what connects the Eibishter with the Yidden. And the Rebbe explains to the children, when you make a bracha, shehakol niyo b'dvarei, you are recognizing that the drink that you have in your hand, this drink is shehakol, this drink and everything else in the world, niya b'dvarei, is being created with Hashem's words. And when you recognize this, you don't just say the words, you recognize this, you're conscious of what you're saying, you connect the water with Hashem. And then the Rebbe goes to the point of saying that when a child becomes conscious that everything in the world is really Hashem's words, then without even saying a bracha, just the fact that they go past water, they drive past water, you're in a car, you're driving past water, and you just see with your eyes, not voice activation, mind activation. You just see with your mind But you think with your mind that this water and everything else in the world is Hashem's words. By doing that, you connect the water with Hashem. I wish we had more time, but we don't. And I want to just take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for the amazing work that's been happening in the schools. Hope I didn't come across too harsh before. The reality is, Kanai Nahara, there was 1,675 children that came to the Chidan this year. The reality is, we got to a point where we're saying 200,000 Kapitelach of Tillim a month. We know this is all happening with your support and your help. And Emir Hashem will reach the real goal with Mashiach Tzidkenu, the Karev Mamash. Thank you.